Right now, the number 3 trend in the US on Twitter is "We are closed. Nobody wants to work anymore." Where tons of people are saying that we refuse to work for trash wages. We're not going to work for these companies that are exploiting us. The CEOs are making too much money. Some people are saying it's not that nobody wants to work. It's that nobody wants to work for trash wages. That's true, though. We were talking with Max Kaiser on the IRL podcast, and he said, once your weekly budget around 40% goes to food, this is when you see people start revolting. It's what you see in Egypt and these other Arab Spring states. People are just like, I can't do this. I'm working my butt off and barely able to get by. Some people also pointed out another really interesting thing is gas prices go up. If you're making 10, 12 bucks an hour and you've got a small commute, how much money are you spending in gas just to get to work? And then you don't make enough to actually cover your bills afterwards. Let me tell you, man. We're going to talk about inflation. Joe Biden is going to spend $4 trillion more while inflation is slamming into us. They're lying about it in the media. Now they're slowly coaxing us into accepting it. It's a dirty game, but I will tell you this. I once worked when I worked at O'Hare Airport in Chicago when I was 18, and I was getting $10 an hour. It was impossible for me to pay for anything. I couldn't save to get an apartment. I couldn't afford the gas to get to work. So I eventually started racking up debt, and then I quit. These things, this is a reality. A lot of the guys who worked there were older, so they were getting a bit more, but they would also work 80 hours a week full time. And when you do, you spend most of your time there. And I'm like, I can't make that work. So I absolutely sympathize and empathize with the people who are being told, you're barely going to cover your bills. You're going to be slowly going down in terms of covering, you're going to be generating debt, not assets. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. Totally get it. One of the problems is there's a lot of problems. For one, unfettered immigration. We need standard immigration controls. We don't have this. When you get people coming in and these massive multinational corporations exploiting cheap labor, it displaces the labor market. There's a massive supply of workers, but only a certain amount of demand. Then they pay less. There are a bunch of other issues too. But one of the big problems we have is inflation. Gas prices go up, food costs go up, your wages don't go up as fast. So now people are like, yo, $15 an hour is not enough. $15 an hour is enough. It is. Now, is it enough as you'd like? Probably not. It'll allow you to survive. You'll have a job, but a lot of people just don't want to do these things. And the main reason this is all possible right now, like I mentioned with Max Kaiser, when you get around 40% of your budget going to food, that's when you see a revolution. That means if food prices go up, not if wages are stagnant or go down, if food prices go up, people eventually lose their minds. They explode. It's possible that these people we're getting to this point only because of Joe Biden's spending policies for 2 reasons. The $300 unemployment bonus, which most of you probably know about by now because we talked about it quite a bit, is incentivizing people not to work. $16 an hour. So a lot of the people who aren't working are not the same people who are complaining about, the top 1%. No, there's people who are just like, I can't lose $1 an hour to go and work your job. If you're paying $15 an hour at McDonald's and I'm getting 16 on unemployment, I can't drop this and go and work for you to lose money. So I was on unemployment when I was like 20 or so. I lost a job, filed for unemployment. They told me, do not accept a job that pays you less, because then you will just end up here again on unemployment, and we don't want that. And that's happening now. A lot of people are sitting there, and I don't think they're greedy and laughing and saying, ha, 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 now I'll make all this money and I'll never have to work again. I think there's people just like, I'm getting $638 a week or whatever. If I go take this job, I'm going to lose money. I'll be able to cover my bills. I can't do it. And this is creating a strange, forced inflationary problem. Now, here's where it gets just so dang funny. First, we got Steven Crowder as the top post in We Are Closed. He said, "We Are Closed trend is filled with entitled crybabies. There is a greater job surplus than at any point in modern American history, a huge portion of which pay far more than $15 an hour. If you think that plumbing, welding, and carpentry is beneath you, you get nothing." I hear you, bro, but the problem is the government is saying, nah, you'll get something no matter what. And if you get something no matter what, then why would people bother working? This you know. But also, let's be real, okay? There's a dude right now, and he's got a kid, and he's got a wife, and he's on unemployment because of the COVID lockdown. He didn't quit his job. They shut it down. They gave him unemployment, and now he's like, okay, I got to get work. And he looks, and he's like, they're going to pay me the same for what I'm already getting, but I got time to find something better. There are a lot of lazy people, don't get me wrong. Which brings me to this story from Fox Business. Inflation spike bolsters Republicans' criticisms of $4 trillion spending plans. That's right. Joe Biden doesn't seem to care that we're in the midst of this inflation and work exodus. Fox Business reports President Biden's $4 trillion tax credit and spending proposals encountered a new political obstacle on Wednesday, the threat of surging inflation. After consumer prices in April saw the biggest increase in decades, the Labor Department report that U.S. consumer prices for goods and services surged to 0.8% in April, the largest in more than a decade and the fastest year-over-year jump since 2008. Excluding the volatile food and energy data, core inflation rose 0.9% in April and 3% over the past 12 months. There's so much money out there in the economy that the demand is high, and it's outpacing supply and starting to push prices up. Senator John Thune told Bloomberg on Wednesday, we need to be a little bit more cautious and restrained. Well, they lied to us. Let me show you this. This is from May 4th. Yellen sees no inflation problem after rate hike, comments Royal Wall Street. They didn't come out and say no inflation. She said no inflation problem. Here's the issue. They're lying to you about what's going on. And you know it. And I know it. And we know it. And there's a reason they do it. The fear is that people will panic. If you tell people inflation's going to hit, what happens is people will then say, I better spend my money now. And then that results in faster inflation. Prices start skyrocketing because people start fighting over prices. To put it simply, if people are like, I better spend my money now before it's too late, quick, call the carpenter to get the wall fixed or whatever. And the carpenter's like, okay, it's $5,000 to fix this. And then his phone rings. I need you to work. Well, I can't. I got another. I'll give you 6,000. Okay. And another person's going, I'll give you 7,000. The prices start skyrocketing. People start spending like crazy. And then boom, more inflation. So what happens is they come out, these experts, these government actors, telling you to ignore everything. It's not happening. There's no inflation. And then once they can get a handle on things, once they can protect themselves, what happens next? The New York Times. Inflation is here. Oh, there's no inflation problem. Inflation is here. So you see, the first time the stories come out, they make sure the framing is such that you make assumptions that are incorrect. So when they say there's no inflation problem, a lot of people assume that means there's no inflation. There is inflation. And it's getting really, really bad. Now what they're doing is they're saying it's temporary. Just calm down. The New York Times says inflation is here. What now? Prices are rising fast in ways that seem temporary, yet this could change expectations in ways that are self-reinforcing. Just a week ago, they were saying there was no inflation problem. Here's what they do. They tell you, they lie to you, they manipulate. That way they can buy things up, secure their own assets, and then go, oh yeah, by the way, that inflation thing, yeah, it's here, it's a problem. Then when you rush out and panic, it's okay. They've already taken care of themselves. They don't want you to flood the market. Look at what Fauci said. Remember when Fauci last year was like telling people not to wear masks and then later came out and said wear masks? He said in an interview, we were concerned that medical experts wouldn't, the medical professionals wouldn't get the masks they needed. It's true. It's all true. And he basically just said, we will lie to you to leave you holding an empty bag because we need it more than you do. Now, look, he's right in certain circumstances, for sure. Medical professionals needed the masks more than regular people did. And so instead of telling people the truth, he decided to lie. Why? Their fear is that people are selfish. And I think it's a reflection on themselves. But they're probably not entirely it's probably not entirely untrue. There are a lot of people who will go out and disregard this and say, every man for themselves. I will protect myself. Screw you. And that's a big challenge. It is. There's no easy ethical way to deal with these problems right now. I know that by doing a video where I say, look, inflation is here, your dollar is getting devalued, prices are skyrocketing, there's a processor shortage, there's a computer chip shortage, there's food shortages, people might freak out and go panic buying. It can make things worse. In fact, people probably will. Well, what do? Do I just play the game they're playing and say, don't worry, everybody, everything's fine, then whisper to my friends, hey, go buy stuff quick, buy gas, it's going to be bad, it's going to get bad? Or do I just say, like, here's what's happening? What are we supposed to do about it? I don't know, man. I can tell you that the media seems to think they're smarter than you. They're better than you. And instead of journalists doing their jobs, instead, journalists are working for the establishment political class to make sure that you do what you're told and what they want you to do. That's not the job of a journalist. The job of a journalist is to say straight up, here's what's happening. You guys figure it out. Now, I suppose these people feel it's irresponsible because it could lead to inflation, crisis, panic, etc. A lot of people started buying up gas in stupid ways when they heard about the pipeline hack. They started filling up drums and plastic bags with gasoline. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I don't even know. I don't think a plastic bag can hold gas, but sure, I guess. Don't do that. People don't care. When they hear the news, they panic. Then what happens is over time, you get a group of people who believe that they have the power to control the masses and that they should. I disagree. That's more communistic. It's more authoritarian. They say we should control the economy. We should centralize it that way because we know what's best for people. Michael Bloomberg said it. Michael Bloomberg said we should tax the poor because they're too stupid and they buy dumb things. So we should buy for them. That's a slippery slope. There's a reality that, yeah, people do buy dumb things. But man, when you think you're smarter than the entire economy, what happens? Soviet Union, China, food shortages, the Holodomor, crises. These people think, they have to intervene to save the system, to lie, to manipulate. And the more they do, the more problems are bred from this, and the more they think they have to intervene. The issue is maybe no matter what we do, we will have problems. For everything, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And these people think that they can just control the system. But let's be honest. I think a lot of people in reality, a lot of the wealthy people, a lot of the New York, people at New York Times, people in government are more so thinking, the ship is sinking. How do we get to the life raft first before they do? Inflation is coming. What should I buy before they do? Or how can I strip the value of regular working people? Which brings me to my next point. Elon Musk. Elon Musk announced he's not going to be accepting Bitcoin for Tesla anymore. You see, as much as I've praised Elon Musk, I have said he should be criticized when he should be criticized. I'm not going to have a panic attack over his offensive jokes or tweets, but this to me reeks of stripping the value of regular people. I believe Elon Musk is ripping people off as a wealthy individual who wants to protect his assets and cause mass and just strip away from other people. Here's what happened. Hear me out. Elon Musk tweeted, Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy transaction. Elon is lying, in my opinion. I believe he's lying. I believe he's manipulating. I believe the goal is to cause a panic because this is how the game is played. Now, typically, rich people don't tell you this. They just sit back, laugh, and buy the dip. Now, of course, many people on Twitter keep saying, don't sell, buy the dip, don't sell. But people panic. I remember when Bitcoin hit 20K. People were mortgaging their homes. Stupid thing. They shouldn't do that. To buy Bitcoin, thinking that, if Bitcoin goes up 100%, I can pay it off and make all this cash. And then Bitcoin fell to like 7K or something, or 10K. And then people panicked and sold and racked up a bunch of debt to the banks, to the institutions, and they sold at such low prices. And the people who bought it up were the rich people who knew the game. And then Bitcoin is now sitting at around $49,000, $50,000. Bitcoin went up to 58. Elon Musk says we're no longer going to accept Bitcoin anymore, and people panic sell, losing thousands, millions, billions of dollars. But what did Elon say? Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin. You know why he said that? In my opinion, they crafted the message as best they could to protect themselves from any legal liability for defrauding people. Oh, we're not going to accept it anymore because of the environment, but we ain't going to be selling it. Really? You're concerned about mining, but you're not going to offload the coins you have? Maybe you should. You're contributing to this problem. Here's the truth. Elon Musk, I believe, is lying. Bitcoin does not use, according to a report, the majority of the energy generated in all likelihood for Bitcoin is renewable. Why? Bitcoin can be mined anywhere. And so many people who have set up mining operations look for cheaper alternatives, and they look for places where they have renewable access, notably hydro dams. So mining is being done in many places with renewable energy because they don't want to worry about their operation being impeded by a supply chain disruption with fossil fuels. So they get supply from solar areas. And there's a report that says 79% of the energy used for Bitcoin comes from renewable sources. This story from Harvard Business Review, May 5th. Okay, let me slow down for a second. A lot of people probably don't care about Bitcoin. You need to hear this. You need to listen. For one, I do own Bitcoin. I own a few other cryptocurrencies. I am bullish on it. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You can do whatever you want. I'm not giving you advice. What I am saying is Bitcoin is a deflationary currency. There can only ever be 21 million coins. Plus you've got general entropy, coins being lost, people passing and not giving their keys away, which means the supply will shrink. But it is a decentralized store of value. It doesn't matter what one Bitcoin is worth. I wish I understood this in 2011 when I first saw it at 70 cents. I wish I understood that it doesn't matter what a Bitcoin is worth. It does store value. If you're holding US dollars right now as hyperinflation is slamming into us and these rich people are like, there's no problem. there's no problem. Ignore it. Then what do? Bitcoin jumped to 60K. Ethereum jumps to 4,000, another cryptocurrency. In my opinion, probably a lot of these rich people seeing hyperinflation and panicking and getting out of the dollar. That means by buying something else, Bitcoin's going to keep going up. The dollar is going to keep going down. Gasoline prices are skyrocketing. What you can buy with a dollar becomes less and less every single day. What you can buy with a Bitcoin becomes more and more every single day. Which means, I guess you want dollars for immediate transactions, but you want Bitcoin. And man, I wish I paid more attention to this. And I feel really dumb because I've known this for so long. If 5 years ago, I just put my money in Bitcoin and said, whenever I need cash, I can just cash out of Bitcoin, I would have been extremely wealthy, extremely. Unfortunately for me, I decided to just do work in order to build my business and didn't really buy massive amounts of Bitcoin. Here's what happens. Elon Musk comes out and says, we're now going to accept Bitcoin for transactions. And I think I'm not sure which happened first, the mass buying of Bitcoin, but Tesla buys a bunch of Bitcoin, the price skyrockets. How do you get more? What people have consistently done, these wealthy individuals, these news organizations, governments, China, for instance, is like, we're banning Bitcoin and the price tanks. And then the rich people all buy it up for discounts. Right now, Bitcoin dropped from like 58K to it went down to like 47. Oh, it's back up at 50K again. Why? Poor people, they don't understand and they panic sell thinking, oh no, it's going to go down. And the rich people laugh and buy it all back up. And they instantly make $8,000 per coin. You can buy fractions of Bitcoin. You can buy 1 penny's worth of Bitcoin, 2 pennies worth, $1 worth. It doesn't matter how much you buy. You can buy any amount. Because I think the smallest division of a Bitcoin costs 0.05 of a penny, meaning 0.0005 of a dollar. It's nothing. And then when Bitcoin goes up to $1 million, you'll have, I think, $10 or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to do the math. The point is, anybody can buy in. So when the price tanks, it's because people who have maybe $100 in Bitcoin, $200, they sell thinking, I'm going to lose $100. What do I do? Imagine you make $15 an hour. I'm sure many of you do. You've got $500 at the end of the month and you're like, I got a little bit left over. Maybe I should put it in Bitcoin. It's a smart idea. So you do. Then you hear that the news is breaking, Bitcoin's dropping, and you think, oh no, I can't lose $300 right now. It's too much money. So you sell. You end up losing it anyway. You keep only $200, and then a week later, it goes back to normal. I'm not telling you what you should or shouldn't do. Do not take any of this advice. I'm just saying, these people are exploiting a crisis. It's what they're good at. They come out and say, don't worry about inflation. Everything's fine. There's no shortage. Remember the New York Times? There's no long lines for gas. And then we saw the videos of long lines for gas. People don't trust the media. They don't trust the government. They panic. And that's the problem. When people panic buy gas, it creates shortages. When people panic sell crypto, it creates an opportunity for the ultra rich to buy things up. When people get angry and panic smash windows and riot, then the property values decline rapidly and the rich people can come up and buy the property for pennies on the dollar and then wait. And the property values will recover a little bit, not perfectly. See, that's how the game is played. It's how they keep poor people down. If in 2011 you spent, I think, $16,000 in Bitcoin, not like you had it, but maybe you had some, you would be a billionaire right now. A billionaire. If you spent $20, if you spent $20 in 2011, you would be a millionaire right now. $20. You see, that's the nature of deflationary currencies, cryptocurrencies, and these assets. Elon Musk surely knows. When you look at this, Harvard Business Review says, let me pull up the numbers to make sure you can see it. According to one report, 73% of Bitcoin's energy consumption was carbon neutral, largely due to the abundance of hydropower. They say one report says in September, it was maybe 39%. So why is Elon Musk telling you, oh no, fossil fuels? So here's what I tweeted. I am suspending the use of my Tesla for driving. I am concerned about the rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for powering Tesla vehicles, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. Electric cars are a good idea on many levels, and I believe it has a promising future, but it cannot come at a great cost to the environment. I will not be selling my Tesla, and I do intend to use it as soon as energy becomes more renewable. I'm looking at other electric cars to use as well. You see the name of the game? Tesla generates more carbon, lithium batteries, car production, energy consumption than Bitcoin does. Now, I think Elon Musk, whether intentional or not, I believe the intention for a lot of these people is to cause a panic. Everybody sells. They buy it back up for dirt cheap, or their buddies do. That's how the game is played. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.